Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, just hilarious. Charlemagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRose is here as well. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Hasan Piker. Welcome.
It's good to be here.
How are you, man?
How you feeling?
I'm a little tired. I've been traveling quite a bit, even though they've stopped me from traveling to certain places, not to the UK. But yeah, I've been in New York for the week. I just did a DSA slate rally for all the New York City candidates last night.
What's that, Democratic Socialists of America?
Yeah. I brought you guys merch from them. I don't know if you want it. I mean, but
I don't like to label myself anything, but if I did label myself something, it would be a Democratic Socialist.
Really?
Yes, because I believe.
Told you. He just came in hot. He was like, yep, I'm a Democratic Socialist. I was like, what?
In capitalism, but I also believe that, we need to have social programs in place to take care of the least fortunate amongst us.
Okay, so you're like a social democrat. That's what it would be like. Okay.
So so it's not the same thing. Democratic socialism and social democrats are different.
There are definitely some social democrats in DSA as well, but they would be to the right of DSA. So they're the DSA right.
Okay.
For the most part. Yeah. I mean, it's
well, without the directions. Just tell me what.
All of this stuff was considered radical to the average American politician. It's not so radical to the average American person, right? Because if you ask like regular folk, like, do you want free health care? They'd be like, yeah, that makes so much sense. If you were like, hey, should we stop bombing random countries and instead, I don't know, spend money on building schools here? Everyone would be like, yeah, no, that's a great idea. But in Washington, D.C., that's a radical concept. They're like, whoa, what are you talking about?
Well, for people that don't know who Hasan is, let's break down who he is. So you break down to people who've never heard of you, who's first time listening, first time watching you, who Hasan Piker is.
Yeah, I'm a Turkish-American political commentator. I grew up in Turkey my whole life, but I'm an American citizen. I was born here.
New Jersey,
I was born here
born and raised
in New Jersey. Well,
what?
not raised in New Jersey, but born in New Jersey, went back to Turkey, grew up in Turkey, and then came back for college. I went to University of Miami for a year and then graduated from Rutgers. And I started working for my uncle because just like every other 2013 graduate at the time, it was impossible to get a job. So I was doing a free internship, and then basically that turned into a very underpaid job. That was the uncle nephew special for me.
Tell him what your uncle is.
Oh, it's Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks. Yeah, you know him.
That's my guy.
Yeah, that's how we made that connection to begin with. But so I started working there. I was doing ad sales initially, but I graduated with a political science and comms double major, dual degree. I'm probably one of the only people that actually puts both of those degrees to use. It's usually one of those things where you have those degrees and then you never end up using it. But I was fortunate enough. And I'm a political commentator. I broadcast live on Twitch every day, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day usually. I travel the world, and I work with political organizers and unions and politicians and candidates to try to move American politics further to the left, hopefully.
You also play some sports too, though, right?
I play basketball.
Yeah.
I play basketball, but not like, nothing at the organized level.
Gotcha.
I'm not very good.
You look athletic as well.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, hold on, before you do that.
Why you say it like you don't believe it?
I don't know. I mean, thank you.
It's
I don't
your
know.
build.
Yeah,
It's
you build,
like
you look stocky like
yeah.
in football. But you also said that you were banned from some countries. For people that don't know, explain why you were
From the
banned, why you
UK.
said that.
Yeah, so recently, back in the day, I used to have like ops as like other Twitch streamers, content creators, drama, and now it's turned into governments. And obviously, the number one government op that I have probably is Israel. They're not too fond of me. And then the American government is also apparently, allegedly, investigating me for doing a humanitarian aid mission to Cuba that I went on with the journalist visa as well. There's supposedly some subpoena that Fox News says I received. I never actually received the subpoena. And then now the UK has banned me and my uncle from traveling.
Just because of your criticism of Israel.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
focusing on the UK, right? Because they said that you were bound on you were blocked from going on the grounds that your presence in the UK may not be conducive to the public good.
Yeah.
What is
That's what they
happening with
said.
this
And it's a
audio?
very opaque structure where they just kind of make this decision, and they don't even have to defend it. Now, obviously, the UK doesn't have the same expansive First Amendment protections that we have. They have, hate speech statutes and whatnot. Having said that, this is definitely an escalation, and that it became a much larger issue both in the UK and internationally, as a matter of fact, because like in the past, they had stopped Kanye West from traveling to the UK. And also Valentina Gomez, who's another American rabble rouser. I mean, she was saying unbelievably hateful things, and also some far right Polish ministers and numerous other people that were trying to go and participate in a race riot that Tommy Robinson was putting together. So this is the first time where the British government has decided to ban travel for objectively left people who obviously have not engaged in any sort of like bigoted or hateful speech. They try to present it as hate speech, but it's just Israel commentary.
So it's just you being critical of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government.
Mm-hmm. And not just that. I mean, I talk about the ideology behind Zionism as a racist ideology as well. I think that's probably very frustrating for a lot of people to hear. But
could you explain that? Because I've seen you say that you're not anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
but you're anti-Zionist. I don't know the difference. I don't know what either. I don't know what.
So Zionism is like this intentionally vague concept, and at its inception, it is a political movement, a political ideology that sought a homeland for Jewish people. Sought a homeland for Jewish people they were testing out different places. Argentina was one of them as well. There were different parts of Africa that they were also seeking out. And then they landed on what is now known as Israel, landed on historic Palestine. And it was a settler colonial enterprise, and at its inception, it's pretty open about it as well. There's the formative thinkers Jabotinsky and Theodore Herzl very openly declared that this was a colonialist endeavor. And that's how they got a lot of support from other colonialist endeavors at the time as well, other colonialist powers, the Balfour Declaration with the British Kingdom and the like. And it's the ideology is basically the easiest to define by the statement that they define it by, developing Israel for a land without people, for a people without land. Now, of course, the problem is there were people on that land. There were Palestinians on that land, right? And therefore, it turned into this expansionist, endless conquest. And initially, a lot of Jews were very critical of it. There's a theological criticism of it as well. There's some Jews like the Neturei Karta or some of the more fundamentalist Jewish sects that oppose the nation state of Israel's development before the Messiah comes. They find that to be wrong from a religious perspective. Then there's also obviously a lot of anti-Zionist Jews as well who oppose it on the grounds that this is a fascist ideology and a settler colonial movement that is unbelievably destructive for all of the non-Jewish population in the region, for the Palestinians, for the Arabs, the Christians, the Muslims alike. That's the same principle that I hold as well. That's why I say I'm an anti-Zionist. And of course, I'm not anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism is a heinous, bigoted ideology
And I've heard you say that all the time.
Yeah.
So why are you considered anti-Semitic?
Because there's no real argument against anti-Zionism, so you have to just kind of be like, oh, you're a hateful bigot. And it used to work. Like, this was a very successful way to completely silence all manner of dissent in the past. It just doesn't work anymore because, like, Israel's actions have been so transparent and so heinous since October 7 that many people in the Western world recognize it now as such. And that, I think that kickstarted the process of people also, like, diving a little bit deeper into the history of Israel and its development and its inception, all the way from the Nakba in 1947 or even prior to that. And it caused people to realize, like, oh, we just didn't know anything about this process at all. We didn't know anything about the way that this this design looked like at all, or they were, misguided. They were taught differently about how Israel was developed.
Now, I noticed, following you, I see people criticize you a lot, right? They say that, you criticize capitalism, but they also say you make millions of dollars streaming. So what do you say to those people, those individuals?
Well, it's when I was broke, I also advocated for the poor. And at that point, they would be like, oh, you're jealous. You're jealous of the wealth. You just want to steal their wealth. And now I'm financially successful, and I say the exact same things. Now they say I'm a hypocrite. And the reality of the matter is it's not about my financial circumstances at all. It's just about what I'm saying. I think people have internalized this idea that you cannot, and it's not even just about like advocating for the poor, advocating for the working class. It's more so just about any kind of belief that a better future is possible. People look at that and there's deep cynicism and distrust. When they hear that, they go, there's got to be something here. He's selling me something. Meanwhile, on the other side of this equation, there are people who are selling you things. I feel like there are so many people who will just be like, I made it. I'm rich. I made the American dream happen for myself. And you can too, as long as you sign on to my course. For $65, if you go to my Discord server, I'll teach you all the tricks on how to be rich. And everyone, like, there are a lot of people who want that. There are a lot of people who demand that. They're desperate for it. And it's understandable that they're desperate for it because a lot of people are struggling financially. And I want to create a much better solution to this problem, because the problem is within the systems and not up to the individual.
That's why I want to hear more about being a democratic socialist, because to me, I thought being democratic socialist meant you want economic power just to shift from corporations to working class individuals. You want the wealthy to be taxed. You want market regulations. Like that's what
for sure. That's definitely one form of it. Okay. And there's numerous different designs for how to move this economy in a more productive way. I like the way I put it is there's a lot of potential in this world, and I think we're squandering it, right? There's a lot of potential in this world that is never unlocked because of which zip code someone was born into, or at the global level, which country someone was born into. If you're born on one side of a made-up boundary that we created, and you're being dominated by countries like America or even Israel in the circumstance, it's a lot harder for you to unlock your full potential. And I see that everywhere that I go, and it's very frustrating for me. So yeah, I want to make sure that there is this real material equality as a starting point that we offer to every single person, as long as we have that capacity, and we certainly do here in the United States of America. This is the wealthiest nation on earth, and yet 700,000 people sleep outside every night. Like, they don't have a house. I mean, that's crazy. That's a policy failure, right? And we can solve these problems, but the reason why we choose not to is the same exact reason why we have a surplus of food supply in the world, and yet 14 million people die every year due to famine-related diseases. It's a matter of logistics. It's a matter of profit. So I don't care about profit. I think it's ridiculous, and I think we need to scale that back dramatically in the interim, and then hopefully evolve away from our current design, our current understanding of who the economy is supposed to work for.
And how do you balance? I would say being an entertainer and also doing what you do, right? Because it has to be a line, right? There's a million and one people online that's an activist, right? But some of them are not entertaining. So how do you balance that line to keep people coming in to make sure you spread your message of whatever the message is that you want to put out there?
Yeah, I think you have to be palatable. I think you can't just do academic jargon all the time. You have to have your interest.
I'm doing it right now, as a matter of fact. This is send to mom quality. I shall be making use of this interview, gang. Yeah. Because if I was having this conversation with Twitch chat, they'd be like, why aren't you immediately talking about how we must abolish capitalism? Like, that's what they would say. Why aren't you? You have betrayed the revolutionary cause. You must maintain the revolutionary cause. You must be immediately telling these people who are profoundly wealthy that they are the enemy. Okay? That's what you should be doing.
And sometimes you have to be bold too. And I feel like that's a real issue on the left, or has been an issue on the left. I think we're changing that right now. There's a real incredible crop of talent coming out of the New York City DSA slate. And I'm very excited to work with them and see where we go from here. But overall, I think for the longest time, especially in America, the idea was that if you're on the left, if you're progressive, you're a bit of a woke scold. Like, you can't have fun, right? You have to behave like almost like a hall monitor, and that's never how I've operated. And that's actually drawn some enmity from the left as well, where people will be like, "Oh no, you're not supposed to say certain things. You're not supposed to joke about certain things." But I think it's fine. It's fine to be able to have fun while also consistently pushing for a better future. Because I think that's what the average person, that's where the average person is, right? Like, socialism is not a poverty cult. Socialism is not about taking a vow of abstinence or taking a vow to never enjoy anything. It's actually about making sure that everyone can enjoy things. Everyone can have some autonomy in their workplace, better time off, better conditions overall, and pursue whatever hobbies they want to pursue. Because what the hell is the point at the end of the day? Are we just on God's green earth to work every single day so that someone else can make money off of your labor, and then you get nothing in return, and the best you can hope for is like pay off your rent, and the only way that you can actually reach the last level is if you're someone like myself or someone people like yourselves as well, who have basically won the lottery, right? That's the way I describe it to people, where it's like, I have won the lottery and I continue to win the lottery every single day.
Do you get scared about that? Do you get nervous with some of the things that you do say? And we've seen this climate, this political climate, this government climate, it's very nasty, very disgusting, very revengeful. People listen to every word that you say and want to take revenge on the things that you say. We've seen it with the president. We've seen it with countries banning you. Are you scared? Are you nervous? And what are you doing to make sure that something doesn't happen to you?
Well, as far as like, am I worried that someone is going to come after me?
Correct.
Someone's going to kirk me, is what you're saying, potentially.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
we breezed past that. That's on Netflix, bro.
Sure, that's always a concern, but that's always been a concern. I mean, I've been
seems worse recently.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten worse, but I mean, the worst aspect of it now is it's not just like I'm getting random death threats or whatever from Nazis who are doxing me and my family, trying to swap me, but you got the New York Post coming up outside of my house with a drone, with an actual drone, Tel Aviv style, taking photos outside of my home, and putting that on blast on their website, and it's like, it's a joke, but it's become this reality where it's like, oh, have you offended the sensibilities of wealthy people, billionaires? Here's a photo outside of your house, just a reminder, you're not impossible to reach, and that's kind of the fear that they want to foment. But from my perspective, this is unfortunately a natural part of the process. I've been saying the same things for many, many years. The government never came after me like this. It's not like I changed anything. What changed is the environment. What changed is that people are actually a lot more receptive to this message now. So now it's all of a sudden a real threat. So that's always going to be a fear that I have, but I can't let fear guide me.
I saw an interview you did. It was at like an ICE protest, and you said that the government is targeting activists. You feel like that?
Oh, for sure. But the government's always targeting activists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's already tremendous suspicion around numerous key figures in Black Lives Matter protests, all the way from the Obama administration as well, that have all died. It's strange.
Why is the chat so slow? Did you get rated? Yeah. Well, no, I'm botting. I got rated and I'm botting. That's why the chat is so slow. Yeah. It's mostly bots. I think it's just you and probably like 8 other people in here, and they all hate me. And every other aspect of this is just like completely made up by WME, the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, and Israel is another big supporter of the bots to make it seem like I have a lot more popularity than I actually do. As a matter of fact, in the real world, most people they love whatever your politics is, And I suspect it's like very far right, you know what I mean? But it's not even far right. It's actually totally just normal politics, right? Apolitical politics, like purging all the migrants, abolishing women. Like that's what everyone believes, but they're too afraid to say it out loud.
Phenomena, and obviously we know that there is a historic precedent for this. The American government, yes, exactly. So that's always been the case, and outside of that, I think there is a lot more apprehension of even like student protesters and whatnot nowadays. I mean, I believe Michigan restarted another case with the federal government for student activists. I believe it was 7 of them that are now being prosecuted by the federal government. I don't want to get the details wrong, but I looked into it because Kash Patel comes out and he's like talking about this thing as though they got Osama bin Laden. Basically, it turns out they filled up balloons with red paint and they were gonna throw it at the houses of like the dean or something. A bunch of students, you know. I mean, this is like, it's not great, but this is not. You haven't uncovered a grand conspiracy. There isn't anything, material here. These are people who are understandably frustrated about their school's lack of interest in hearing out the majority opinion on
level 7 hype train.
A lot of these
Keep carrying the flame. Give
have direct
subs.
financial ties to the Israeli state and therefore the Israeli military, right? And understandably, students want to sever that in the same exact way that students demanded boycotts, divestments, and sanctions from apartheid South Africa, right? This has been done before. Of course, Israel was a big ally to apartheid South Africa at the time. As a matter of fact, they were spying on American students, Jewish students as well. Jewish anti-apartheid activists were being spied on. Black activists were being spied on by the ADL, the Apartheid Defense League, or the Anti-Defamation League. At the time in the 90s, there was a court case. And I think Israel learned a lot of lessons from the failures of apartheid South Africa. And that's part of the reason why their apartheid has been far more resilient than the South African one.
Have you had conversations with Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League?
I've been trying.
Okay.
I would love to. I mean, on the back end, I tried to make something happen, and he has been very resistant to it. Because, I mean, what conversation are we gonna have? Damn,
That's
my
them.
backyard.
They
That's
coming.
what-
They coming for you.
That's how it goes.
I
Yeah.
don't mind, just in case.
You're cooked.
You just never know.
You said what kind of conversation could you have? I think that it could be a conversation that could help people not see you as anti-Semitic. I think.
I
Because I hear you speak out against anti-Semitism often. That's why I say that.
I know. I think here's
Level
the
8
thing.
hype train.
I think Jonathan Greenblatt knows I'm not anti-Semitic. I think that's the reason why he's coming after me. I don't think it's a confusion. Mm-hmm. The reason why he's coming after me and not there's definitely some vicious anti-Semites out there right now, right? The reason why he's doing that is because none of those guys are going to convert his nieces and nephews. And that is a major problem, because I've spent
Convert them to what?
Anti-Zionism.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's a big problem for the Zionist lobby. It's a big problem for the multi-million-dollar advocacy network that exists in an effort to ensure that young American Jews feel a sense of connection to the state of Israel, even if they don't go there, even if they don't want to live there, even if they never will live there, they still feel like they have this association with the state of Israel and defend the state of Israel. And it's been fairly successful, these initiatives. I mean, it starts at like J School, camp, and
3 minutes remaining. Level 8 hype train.
Any kind
Keep
of
gifting.
community organizing, because a lot of Jewish institutions,
Breakfast Club,
still, and this is what my members of my community have told me, like a sense of loss that they feel once they come out and tell their parents that they are opposing Israel. They no longer can participate in a lot of these community events because they get chastised.
Let me ask you a question. Isn't there nuance to that though? Because I feel like should you oppose Israel or should you oppose the Israeli government?
Yeah, no,
Because I feel like when you say oppose Israel, it's generalizing a whole community.
No, it's by design. I oppose Zionism as an ideology. I don't have a problem with people living there. If they lived in a single solitary secular state, there would still be a lot of issues. I think there would probably be a lot. It would resemble the Reconstruction era here, but there'd be some growing pains. But at the end of the day, as long as everybody got equal say and equal rights and equal representation, as opposed to the current occupation structure that exists, then yeah, it's fine. It's a country just like any other country, and there's going to be problems there. Right now, Israel is exceptional in some ways, where it's not like any other country, and I think a lot of its defenders try to present it as such. Israel is not dissimilar to how countries were formed, maybe maybe 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 300 years ago, but this kind of siege warfare in 2026 is obviously going to be deemed unacceptable by people who do believe in liberal values and humanitarian values, because we should oppose it. That's what we learned. We learned in school that this is unacceptable when nations of the past did it. We're supposed to acknowledge that it was unacceptable when America did it. Now, the problem is some people don't want to acknowledge that, right? Because this is a settler colonial occupation as well in its inception. That's how America was started as well. The mass slaughter of the indigenous population and the continuation of chattel slavery after that. So it's taken a long time for America to try to heal some of these racial wounds, and let's be real,
it's not happening.
It's not exactly. It's not exactly a success story. Having said that, however, I think it's still probably better than the conditions in Gaza. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I want to stop. And I think the reason why the Israeli society broadly has shifted so far to the right in a matter of decades is because of this ideology that guides Israelis.
This centrists are exhausting. This is why you make the big bucks and we watch. I wouldn't be able to bear it. Again, you have to be able to speak to the masses, to speak to the issues that the masses experience with the language that the masses understand. Okay? There's an opportunity for me here to not to use more radical language or something, but I'm intentionally not doing that. My convictions are very clear; they're still the same. It's not like I'm dialing back my worldview in any way, shape, or form. It's something that I have talked about over and over again, but I'm not getting hyper specific. I'm not getting lost in the minutia. It's something important for many of you to also understand.
It's Zionism, which I, by the way, have no problems equating to fascism, because it is a fascist ideology, and even make these comparisons to Nazi Germany, which is very frustrating for a lot of people. They say that's anti-Semitic.
Well, one thing that Giannis talks about in the book is he talks about how these algo bosses is what he calls them. They monetize our emotions, and the greatest currency in the cloud capital is conflict. So has Outrage become a business model?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's always what has sold newspapers as well. But
if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is definitely. I mean, it's more dangerous than that, because we've never had, due to technological limitations, this level of involvement in what people feel about themselves and about others. Right? I mean, you can conduct a psychographic profile on a person down to the zip code, down to the house, and figure out what time of the day where they're more likely to order a McDonald's hamburger, and then you can adjust the pricing, as many of these apps are doing now, to make sure that if it's in rush hour, they are more likely to spend an extra $1 on a burger. So they do these, the prices are not fixed.
They do that for flights too. I see that certain times where people are looking to go on vacation or to have time off, the flights would be higher.
Even your
price.
cachet, like you clear out your cachet so that they don't know like which flights you're tracking.
Correct.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wonder, do they know, is there a certain period of point in the day where people are the most angry? I'm not even joking. Like,
I'm sure.
I feel like
Yes.
creators are being rewarded for keeping people angry. These platforms are being rewarded for keeping people angry. Like certain times of the day, you'll see something get thrown out there, and you'll spend all day arguing about it.
You learn that when you enter a newsroom. Not this is the time of the day they're angry, but like
I used to work at TMZ.
On the weekends, people don't want all of that. They want to have like conversations. They want to feel good. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
back to
heavy hitters. Yeah, like that's a thing that you learn.
Yeah. I mean, every time I go on Twitter, I'm angry. So I think every moment of the day that I waste on Twitter is a moment where I'm more angry than I was before I got on Twitter.
But I'm sure you're being targeted. I'm sure these algo bosses, these technologies, they're targeting your feed on purpose with things. You probably arguing with bots all day and don't even know.
Yeah, I know I am, and I still do it.
I was gonna say, because like, how do you rationale in the mix of all of this, right? Because your platform is so big, but there's also this whole business structure and model that people are like, I don't want to support or I do support.
Yeah. I mean, I just know what I believe. I have a moral compass, and I abide by that, and I keep pushing regardless of whether people appreciate what I'm doing or not. And in my experience, most of the people that have developed a negative attitude about me or what I do have never actually encountered me without some kind of negative filter. And let's be real, I've pissed off a lot of very wealthy people, including Elon Musk. Now, sure, maybe I brought that on myself. I've had now 2 of his baby mamas on my stream, and his wonderful trans daughter, who is way cooler than he is. And I think that's probably frustrated him quite a bit. I know that has. But, you know, I oppose his position of power in general.
And one of them said that he straight up helped to steal the election or rig the election, right?
Yeah. Ashley St. Clair was talking about how like Elon was. I saw those text messages. Yeah, he was he was implying that he might have done something. Like, I think there's definitely it's. I don't know if that's like proof enough. I think
it's nothing off limits when it comes to that. Like you said, you spoke to those baby moms on the stream. You had this trans daughter on the stream. It's nothing off limits when it comes to streaming or what you want to discuss or talk about.
They're talking about the state of the world.
I mean,
that's what I got from.
Yeah,
some people don't talk, because you and Elon don't mess with each other. But some people will keep it into just me and Elon, or just the politics, or just the this. But when you have somebody's family on there, a daughter on there, I mean,
this is the most powerful person on the planet, right? The people that are close associates at some point in their lives are also become powerful by design, right? So I think it's good to develop a better understanding of this guy who has tremendous, like demigod-like powers, basically, over the American economy, over the global economy. A guy who's like, creating riots in places like the UK. It's happening right now. There's like anti-immigrant pogroms taking place in Belfast at this moment, and Elon Musk has been fully in support of that. People, masked thugs have been running around, roaming the streets, looking for black and brown homes and tossing Molotov cocktails into these houses, and Elon has been fully in support of that. And I know for a fact that Twitter has played a major role in that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just about like ruining your day because you saw something on your For You page that really pissed you off. There are far worse existential consequences off of the algorithm hustlers that turn around and manipulate the way people feel about certain things. They egg it on. They lean into pre-existing social constructs that have been very powerful at motivating a lot of the masses and keeping the masses divided, really. I mean, white supremacy is one of these tools, right? And Elon hits that button all the time. And I think it's important to understand what his ideological journey looks like. And he's not going to come on my stream anytime soon and have a normal and honest conversation with me. So if there's any other way that I can develop a better understanding of the most powerful person on the planet and their background and what motivates them, then I'm going to take that opportunity.
Isn't your Twitch stream like one of the Twitch biggest subscribed to? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's big. It's definitely. We got a pretty solid community. I wouldn't say I'm a kingmaker in the way that like people present it. If there is good harmony with candidates that have, the fundamentals, that have the policies that have a lifetime of advocacy work and organizing work or like experience that you can point to. An example of this that took place is in the Michigan Senate race right now. The primaries are going to be happening in August. Abdul El-Sayed is my guy, right? He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's a doctor. He's a stud, too. He can do 3 plates on the bench press. And, I mean, that's besides the point. But, I like that personally. And, I've known of Abdul, and I've hung out with him. I've done fundraisers online, small dollar donations for my community for his campaign because he doesn't have any corporate PACs. He opposes, corporate PAC money. And AIPAC has said that they're going to deploy $30 million in his race, right? Because he opposes America's relationship with Israel. He wants to reconsider our endless expansionist mindset in not only the Middle East but all around the world. He says we got to take this money away from these bombs and spend it on ourselves, spend it on healthcare. He's been an advocate for Medicare for All. He wrote a book about it. And he was in the Detroit public health office. So he abolished 300,000 people's medical debt. And he's a wonderful person, right? But he wasn't getting a lot of attention initially in his race. And he reached out to me and said, "Oh, let's do a campaign rally together." And I had already done stuff with him. I traveled to Dearborn. We worked out, played basketball, all this stuff. So I didn't really think about it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the entirety of the right wing and also a lot of center-right forces in the Democratic Party started writing articles about the dangers of aligning with someone like myself. Abdul El-Sayed is now in first place. He was in third place when they were talking about that. Wow. And since that happened, there was like a month-long process where they were like, we should oppose Hasan Piker. He's bad. And his opponents, Mallory McMorrow, compared me to Nicholas Fuentes. Again, a white nationalist, neo-Nazi, just the exact opposition, the exact oppositional figure to my worldview, right?
Yeah, I've heard both rhetorics. I wouldn't put you in that category.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and people saw that for what it was, and this created a lot of trust for Abdul, because he did not stand down, and he did not apologize for doing this, and he kept pushing through. And I think that earned him a lot of trust with Michiganders who saw that and were like, wait a minute, this guy's awesome. They saw his background, they saw his work, they saw his advocacy, they saw his policies, and they identified with it. And now he's in first place in the Democratic Party primaries.
I saw what you said. You said it just now, I'm not a kingmaker, and I was reading a political article, and it was saying how you had an up and down night on Tuesday as you look to convert your online influence into electoral wins for progressives. How do you continue to do that?
I mean, I'm still working on it. So last night I did a rally in Brooklyn for the New York City DSA slate. And I'm trying to be in as many places as I possibly can where there are, wonderful candidates that are running these insurgency races, and try to deploy my influence to the best of my ability in the direction of these candidates who deserve the shine, who deserve the support. And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them that even go unnoticed. I mean, Summer Lee's a great example from Pittsburgh. One of my favorite congresspersons.
I love Summer Lee.
She's brilliant.
I don't
she's
know her
bold.
personally. I just see her on social media.
Oh, you should have her on too.
I want to.
I'll connect you. She's bold. She's brave. She stands by her principles, and she never gets the media attention that she deserves. And sometimes I think it might be by design. I mean, she's also a black woman, so I think that probably plays a role in that for sure. I mean, Ayanna Pressley again, great.
Love Ayanna too.
Yeah, great congressperson. Like, there are a lot of fighters out there, and I don't know if it's if they're being deliberately kept out of the spotlight to not show an alternative, and that they have to like fight through that, because we know what happens when someone does break through that machine. Zohran Mamdani is a great example of this, right?
I think they're too busy doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have to make Ayanna please come to the show. You know what I mean? Like, you have to force them to almost do media.
You're 100% right. This is literally a conversation that I had with some candidates at times. I'm like, come on, you have to play the game a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they think it's like it's not necessary. But all these demons are doing it.
Word.
You got to do it too a little bit.
Before you get out of here, what is your Dude Bro project?
My Dude Bro
That's
project.
what it's called. I think I saw that. Dude, you have a project called Dude Bro or something?
Isn't it like a language like? I saw. Hold on.
It's something with men. I know you said Democrats have struggled with young men.
Oh, that's just something that they say I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like a way to.
Yeah. That's not my own. Like, it's not like a project or anything. That's
They compare you to Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
then they say, but you're like the more like dude, bro, like almost like frat guy version of Joe Rogan, right?
yeah. That's what they say, and it's
He's
just
like,
because
dude, bro.
like
I don't know,
I thought
dude,
that was
bro.
Yeah.
It's like they made it your movement, basically.
yeah, it's crazy because like I think that's literally just because I don't speak in the same academic way that normally people of my ideological background do, and I also like to lift weights and play. I play basketball and I hang out with like people who are other influencers and whatnot, and don't just talk about politics, even though I have been doing that quite a bit as of late this past year because the midterms are happening. But I think that's what it is, because the Democrats are just like, wow, you're woke, but you also work out. And that's not unique. Like, there's so many people like that out there.
That was such an internet thing to just say right now. You're woke.
Yeah.
You also work out.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That like they find that to be a juxtaposition that they haven't seen before, I guess. But I mean, I do have a young male audience too, and I think that's probably part of the reason why. Look, I'll take it. Any kind of marketing, I'll take.
Hasan Piker, tell them where to follow you, man.
Yeah, I'm live on Twitch every day at Twitch.
That's it. That was good. Hasan, this is you. Sure. I mean, he was woke. He's the king. He's a legend, Mr. Rogers. Yeah, that was a pretty good interview, I think.